Hello and welcome back to our Okinawan Kempo YouTube channel showcasing some techniques of Kyo-Jutei-Ryu. We have made the lap in covering the 10 principles of Kyo-Jutei-Ryu, or at least we will after we cover the final principle this evening, which is Bukiho. In the martial arts today, you really don't see a lot of people doing weapons use, unless it's purely performative. You know, folks who do tournaments and flip their sabers around their necks and fascinating things like that. We practice weapons in Kyo-Jutei-Ryu, but we do it with self-defense in mind. And I want to take just a short moment to explain that. Our Kobujutsu is Bukiho, Kempo Kobujutsu. And Bukiho means martial tool. The first one you study is the hambo, which is a short stick. And the reason it's the first one studied is there are lots of things out in the universe that size. In Kyo-Jutei-Ryu, I don't study the sai and the nunchaku and the manriki kusari because I think I'm going to have those things available to me, but I do study a short stick and a long stick and a bladed weapon and a flexible weapon, a metal weapon. And we do that to where if we are ever in a serious self-defense situation, you could find a buki, a martial tool, and then weaponize it to protect yourself. Now, none of this constitutes legal advice. And the laws about that sort of using a weapon in a self-defense situation, they vary from state to state, so you should educate yourselves about what is allowed in your area. But against a very large, dangerous, perhaps drug-using attacker, against a crowd of attackers, if you were attacked by multiple people, or against an attacker with a dangerous weapon, grabbing a broom, grabbing a rake, grabbing a crowbar may be necessary to preserve your life in that situation. And that's what our Bukiho is about. Not the weapon for the weapon's sake, but the weapon is a tool to equalize a dangerous, unfair, life-threatening situation. So to begin, and this is just to sort of be a very, very brief frame. Basically, when we train with our weapons, we do the 8 angles. So you can imagine, I'm not going to go through all 8, but just taking the weapon around the possible striking angles. And we also do the 3 levels of thrust. Those principles we then take to all the different weapons that we study. So that's just a framing comment. Imagine that this fellow was much taller and much bigger, and I just felt like maybe I'm a 90-pound grandma, maybe I'm a mother with my children behind me. There's something about the situation that makes a weapon warranted. Imagine what that would be like. He throws a roundhouse punch, and I strike that arm. That's probably the end, where his bones are cracking and gives me the opportunity to get away. Imagine he threw a lunge punch, and I was able to move and just hit down on the metacarpals of his hand. That type of reception could really end the whole situation. Let's say he took 6 weeks of karate class, but didn't pay attention when they were saying don't fight, and he throws a front kick at me. Again, that one shot in this context is probably sufficient for me to get away from the situation. A big scary guy, that might be warranted. If there were 4 of them or 5 of them, that kind of response might be warranted, where the first guy throws the front kick and you shatter his shin. The next guy's throwing a roundhouse punch, break his hand, catch him in the neck, feel the hand on your shoulder of the next guy, crack him in the knee. That's terrible and that's frightening and that's intense. But again, situation may warrant grab the knife. Another possibility is perhaps the attacker has a dangerous weapon. Now, even if it was just him and it was just me, if he brings the weapon to the situation, that increases the level of threat, and I might want to look for something to try and equalize that situation. Let's say that he just tries to stab me in the gut. Again, the weapon is long, so I'm able to reach him at a safer distance. He can't cut me with that without taking a step. Roundhouse punch. Again, I can just think about trying to clash with the weapon. Even if the weapon's what I hit, and it's a blade, and I've got a good sturdy stick, it might knock it out of his hand, it might dull the blade, I might catch his thumb, I might catch his knuckles. There are a lot of things that this brings to the situation that can make a balance for a very slight person, for a person who's outnumbered, for a person who is really outmatched and overpowered, depending on that level of threat. So that is Bukijutsu in Kyojuteiru. That's the basic level, using the weapon to strike. We'll probably come back and talk about some grappling applications in our next video, which is considered the advanced aspect of weapons training in our system. We hope that you'll like and subscribe. Send us some questions. We would love to hear from you, especially as now we have hit the 10th principle. After that video on grappling with the weapon, we'd love to know where you'd like us to go next. Thanks.